Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Raina McDonald and I'm a paper crafting addict. I love to make beautiful and fun handmade greeting cards. I'm a newbie to the video tutorial system, but not to making cards. I love to share new types of cards, different techniques in card making, and hopefully some interesting card designs. So bear with me as I learn about the technical side of this medium, and hopefully I will put up something that's worth watching. If you like what I do today, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more, please hit the subscribe button. If you've stumbled across my video at this point, then you must be very much into paper crafting, card making, and maybe even paper pumpkin. I am very much new to this process, and I'm learning the technology. So I'm going with the idea that not letting perfection be the enemy of progress, and I'm going forward, and please bear with me. If you click the notifications bell, you will get information about when I upload new videos to my YouTube channel, and that would be a good idea at this point because I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. Hopefully as I get better at it, it will be more frequent and more entertaining. But in the meantime, I hope you stay with me as I show you what I'm going to do with today's card, which is an alternative to the July paper pumpkin. Actually, it's an alternative to the June paper pumpkin pack. So I don't know if you're subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, but it is a Stampin' Up! Product, and I've only gotten into it in the last 6 months because I moved to Las Vegas from Los Angeles in the middle of the pandemic, and for several months all of my craft stash was in storage, and that was hard for me to deal with. But Paper Pumpkin was a great outlet for me because I was able to get the kits that had supplies in it that I needed, and coupled with a couple of trips to Joann's and Michael's for some basic products like cardstock and adhesives and some bling and some embellishments. I was able to start crafting again, even though most of my stuff was still in storage. So I got interested in Paper Pumpkin, especially in the alternatives of the ideas. I'm actually quite a bit behind. As you can tell, July's Paper Pumpkin kit is here and I haven't even touched it yet. And I want to get some of these June cards done and create the content to put up and start this channel going. So bear with me as we're a little bit late, but here is what I'm talking about. If you're new to Paper Pumpkin and you haven't seen this before, maybe I should turn it around this way. I'm not quite sure which way this is going to show. One of those things I'll figure out as we're going. This is the card. These are the cards that are designed to be made with the contents of the June Paper Pumpkin kit. It's called Expressions in Color, and it coordinates well with the Stampin' Up! Expressions in Ink suite in the annual catalog. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but I'm not only interested in Stampin' Up! Products. I love Stampin' Up! Products, and I think they are quality, beautiful. I totally love them. But I also love a lot of other companies. A lot of other designers out there have some great products. And my craft stash is huge, and you're going to see a lot of other products besides Paper Pumpkin and besides Stampin' Up! So if you're a Stampin' Up! Purist, I don't think this channel is going to be good for you. But if you are a little more adventurous and willing to combine things that you get from all sorts of different designers and companies, then I'll probably be bringing some things to you that you might find interesting. So anyway, let's move on to today's card. It is an alternative to the Paper Pumpkin kit, and let me show you what I've done. So in the kit there are several items that are really very cool. They have these vellum words. This one is merci, which is the French version of thanks or thank you, and they of course have it thanks, merci, and danke, so they have it in 3 languages. And this is the Evening Evergreen colored cardstock. This is actually one of the note cards that came in the kit. I cut them down into different pieces, and so this is one of those cards. And I have, as you can see, embossed it using the Stampin' Up! Hexagon Dynamic. Sorry, could hardly read that. The Hexagon Dynamic 3-dimensional embossing folder put through the Big Shot. It is a great folder, and the texture it gives is fantastic. This is an old Stampin' Up! Product, and as you can see, it has double-sided paper. I'm going to use the yellow side, although this one is actually quite attractive, and I'm sure it would make another very interesting card as well. But I'm trying to stick a little bit closer to what the actual card designs are. And so this is where I'm going. This is a piece of basic white cardstock that I've used a rectangular pierced die. I'm sorry, I have no idea what company this is. I'm not good at keeping my stuff in my stash according to the vendor or the designer. I keep them according to the function and the practicality, so I'll show you that in a moment. So for example, these are the set of dies that are in the Expression in inks. What I do is I take them out, I put them on a magnetic sheet, store them in a plastic envelope, and then I store them in bins according to what the content is. So this will go into my florals bin because the dominant feature on it is this floral here. So I'm not actually going to use the dies from any of the cuts from those dies in today's card, but I will be in other cards that'll go up around the same time this video gets finally published. So let's talk about the dimensions of the card. I'm using a basic white cardstock, and it is cut at 4 1/4 by 12 inches. So the width is 4 1/4, the length is 12 inches, and scored at 6 inches. This is a little bigger than your average A2 card, made with half a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, where you cut it at either 4 1/4 and fold at 5 1/2, or cut at 5 1/2 and score at 4 1/4. But I kind of like to make my cards a little bigger than that. This piece of DSP is a scrap that I had in my box of pattern paper scraps, filed under yellow, and it is 4 1/2 by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it was actually cut as if it was going to be a mat for an A2 card. But when I saw it, I thought it would work with this card, so it's going to be layered on top of this card. So what I'll do is I'll keep it equidistant from side to side and then equidistant from top to bottom, and I think that'll work out. The white cardstock was probably originally a 4 by 5 1/4 piece, but after it went through the die, it now measures 3 1/2 by 4 7/8. So that's going to layer on top of this one. And then this one is, as I said, it was the note card from the thing and from the kit, and this actually measures out at 3 1/4 by 4 3/8. Can't remember if it was trimmed to that size or whether it actually was the size of the note card. And I'm using a couple of the things from the kit. This is a couple of the sprigs that came in the Paper Pumpkin kit. I'll work with them in a minute. These, on the other hand, are little flowers that I've punched out of vellum. And I'm one of these people who use what you've got in your craft, in your stash. So this is a paper Stampin' Up! Punch that's, I believe, called Petite Petals, and it goes with a stamp set that has this, that this coordinates with this. But this one is just a Fisker's punch that I got probably at Joann's. And I've layered those two together, and I've actually colored the vellum, the Petite Petals one. And I'm going to use those on my card along, and they have rhinestones in the center of each, probably Stampin' Up! Rhinestones. So let's start with wrapping this. This yellow string or twine came in, I believe, the April or May paper pumpkin kit that was called Batter Up, I believe, and it's a little bit of leftover, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to put that. Oh, I hope this doesn't run out. Does it run out? No, there's plenty here. Yeah, there you go. Along with here. There. And the way I do this is I start with just putting some of the adhesive on, attach my little string to there, and then go up a little bit to this side, and then back down to this side. So that's going to be my wrap on my string, and I will trim this out just to keep it from coming down too far. So having done that, let's adhere this to the white layer, and we're going to do that using the tape runner. You can use any tape runner. I happen to be a big fan of the Stampin' Up! Tape runner, but right now this is what I have handy. And it is just your crafter's tape that you can buy at Joann's. I'm trying to center this in the pierced edging of this one. Now this layer, next I'm going to attach this layer to this card, and I'm going to again use the tape runner. You could use liquid glue for this, or you could use tear and tape. Now, as I said, this is not exactly a perfect fit, so I'm going to try and keep my sides the same and my top and bottom the same. There. This is going to work. Before I go any further, I am going to do my inside. I'm going to decorate the inside of my card before I get any further down the road. Now, because I'm using the Merci on the front of this, I'm going to stamp thanks and for everything. Both of these are stamps that came in the paper pumpkin kit. If you can see better that way, I don't know, maybe better on this side. Yeah, maybe better this way. So I'm using the thanks stamp, whoops, and the for everything stamp. And the two Stampin' Spots, or mini ink pads that came in the kit this month, are Evening Evergreen, which is one of the new in colors from Stampin' Up! Every couple of years they bring out a half a dozen or 5 new colors, and they're only available for a couple of years unless one of them is extremely popular, and then it might get picked up and put as part of the permanent collection. So I'm just going to eyeball this and stamp thanks. And then I'm going to use the second color, which is Bumblebee. I think that might be one of the earlier in colors. I'm not sure if that's a new one or one of the earlier ones from like previously. I don't think it's one of the permanent collection though. So let's just check over here. Line it up as best as you can. Best part of photopolymer stamps. There, that's pretty good. We'll put those together over there. And I think I want to use this stamp here. But first, let's do a sploosh. I don't know what else to call that particular stamp shape, but let's call it a sploosh. And we're going to using the Bumblebee, but I find this Bumblebee is a little too bright for an interior portion or for a background of an issue, so I'm actually going to just stamp it off lightly, and then we're going to stamp it down in the corner here. So that'll give you a little more of a background effect. And then we're going to take this stamp here. it onto our Stampin' Block. And using the green, we're going to stamp on top of that yellow spot. There, gives it a little bit of color. And I would like to use a flower stamp. Here we go. This flower stamp from the Paper Pumpkin kit. And we're going to stamp that in yellow. Up here. Looks like the last time I did this, it was in the green. So I'm going to clean my stamp this time. Should have done that before I started. Here we go. I'm using a chamois to clean my stamp. Try that again. There you go. And I'm not going to try and recreate that green looking one. We'll just go here. And I think that's all I'm going to do on the inside for as far as stamping is concerned, but I may come over here and decide to bring in the green stripe. Now this little plastic is where I keep all of my little pieces that I trim off for using on the inside of my cards or on the decor or on the envelopes. And I don't throw anything away until I'm actually finished making my cards. And so this one, I think what I'm going to do is cut this in half on an angle. And that will give me 2 pieces. Now, do I want to keep them both in here, or do I want to just go with one? I think I'll use them both. And I'm just going to put them down here. I'm using a glue called, I'm not sure, this is Art Glitter Glue. And it is an amazing glue. Stampin' Up! sells a wonderful glue called Tombow Mono Glue, which is also a very good quality liquid glue. But this one is one that when it dries, if you make a mistake and you put it in the wrong place, when it dries, not only does it dry clear, which the Tombow glue does as well, but it dries invisible. The Tombow glue tends to be glossy when it dries. But this one dries very clear. You cannot even see it. It's really invisible. So there is the inside of my card. I tend to like to put a lot on the inside of my card. And now I'm going to fold it over, and using my bone folder, if I can put my hands on it, I'm going to burnish the edge here, so that I get a good crisp fold. There. Now, having done that, I can take this layer and pop it up on some Stampin' Dimensionals. I tend to be generous with my dimensionals. I don't like to have too much give, and I always use the edges of my dimensionals because they are just as good as the pretty shaped hexagons. But I will also put on either side here just to give lots of stability to this layer. I'm not very stingy with my foam adhesives. You might notice as you buy foam adhesives in different places that they have different thicknesses. So while I'm a big fan of the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, I also use some of the others that are on the market for thicker layers if I want something a little thicker. But this one is really, really good. I like the Stampin' Up! Ones quite a bit. So here we go. Try and layer this evenly. Center it on the card. There we go. Now the hardest part of the next step is that when you use an adhesive under vellum, it is visible through the vellum. There's a couple of things you can do with that. I've seen people using a glue dauber, glue on a dauber and spread it around, and that seems to make it a little bit better. This is a sponge dauber that I've used for glue in the past, so we're going to try that again. We're going to bring our scrap paper back, and we're going to, well, let's find our silicone mat. This is the silicone mat from Stampin' Up! You can use with glue, and it doesn't adhere, and it is pretty useful. I use it quite a lot. We're just going to dab this lightly across the vellum and try and make sure we get a good level of it. This may not work out that well on this card because of the dimension of the embossed layer, but let's see how it works. It should be invisible, but let's see if it will adhere well. Move this out of the way. Bring this in. I'm going to put merci. Oh, I don't think it's going to stick. So, okay, mistake number one. Hope you guys like learning from my mistakes. I'm going to try putting glue dots, very tiny dots, only under the parts that have the white impression from the other side. So maybe this will be light enough that we won't be able to see it once it goes on. Let's pray. If you smooth it out, burnish it a bit with your finger, you might be able to get it to be the point where it's not as visible. I think that's working pretty well. Let's hope that's pretty good. Now, before I go anywhere with that, I'm going to do my flowers. This was a piece of the kit that I trimmed down, and now I'm going to shape it a little bit better. Let's make it a little more. These paper snip scissors, by the way, are the bomb. I probably have more pairs of scissors than any reasonable person should ever own. And I didn't buy these paper snips from Stampin' Up! For quite a while. And now I think I bought them because I needed to buy something else. They're very inexpensive, like maybe $10. And I was trying to hit a number of for an order, whether it was a celebration. I was trying to get to $50 or $100. Anyway, I ordered them, and when I got them, I was amazed at how good they are. So I highly recommend them. So now I've got 3 twigs of leaves and 3 little flowers. So we are going to use some of these glue dots that came with the kit for this month. I find the best way to work with these is to use a craft knife. Excuse me, you didn't need that piece. Craft knife, or you can use your scissors, or the Stampin' Up! Has a take a pick tool. You could use a paper piercing point, but I like the craft knife. Putting a glue dot on the back of each one of these. And now let's decide where we're going to put them. I think we're going to put one up there, one right down around here, and one over here. Having decided that, we're going to put, well, maybe this one will go over here. Maybe over here. And I'm going to trim this down a little more and put it under that one up there. So having decided where they're going to go, I'm now going to put the glue dots on the back of the leaves. I like to rub the glue dot onto the product before I take off the backing, so you get it much easier to remove the backing. You don't have a chance of losing the glue dot, having the glue dot come off as well. So there goes that. Now this I'm going to just stick down up here. And I'm going to take this backing off of this glue dot, and we're going to stick that down on top like that. There you go. And we'll do the same thing with these ones. I hope I'm talking loud enough for you guys to hear me. I don't have a microphone yet. I may need to invest in one of those if these video sound qualities are not good enough. So I hope that you can hear what I'm saying. So at this point, I'm just using the microphone that comes with my webcam. We'll see how that goes. And as you can tell, I'm pre-recording this instead of doing it live, and that's for two reasons. One, I have no courage. I'm not brave enough to go live yet. And secondly, there'd be nobody to watch me yet because I have no followers. Hopefully that'll change in a few weeks or months, but in the meantime, that's where I am right now. Putting this out there into the universe to see if anybody picks up on it and wants to hear what I have to say or see what I want to do. I think I'm going to put a third one on this one. It's a little bigger sprig of green, and I'm going to put it here, and then I will cover it with that flower, so we should be okay, even though it may be a little bigger than the space that I'm covering with it. There we go. I want this to go along here. Now I'm going to put this one on. I'm going to put it just a little bit below that knot, so it's not really, well, maybe it's actually going to sit on the string. There, that'll work. So, there you have it. One of my alternates for my paper pumpkin kit, June 2021, and I hope you like it. If you do, please give me a like at below this, and I will put some links in there where you can find some other cards on my Facebook page and my Pinterest page, and hopefully we will see you again in the not too distant future. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.